Summary, Unit 41, The Romanization of Britain. Latin influence on the English language, loanwords and calques. Did you know that when you walk down a street, read a menu or talk about school, you're unknowingly speaking Latin? Imagine Britain nearly 2,000 years ago. Not the Britain of buses and brick houses, but a patchwork of tribes, forests and muddy tracks. Now imagine Roman soldiers landing on its shores, bringing not only legions and laws, but words. Words that would survive invasions, empires and centuries of change. Language doesn't arrive with a dictionary. It arrives with roads, with trade, with power, with belief. And when Rome came to Britain, Latin didn't replace local tongues overnight. It seeped in, settled and stayed. To understand English, then, we have to rewind far beyond Shakespeare or Chaucer. We have to listen to the echoes of Roman camps, Celtic transmission, Christian ritual, and Renaissance scholarship. This is the story of how Latin quietly reshaped English, layer by layer, word by word, until it became inseparable from the language we speak today. Welcome to Unit 41. In this unit, we will explore the Romanization of Britain and its lasting linguistic impact. We will trace Latin influence from pre-Roman Britain through Roman occupation, Christianization, the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, focusing on how Latin entered English through loanwords and calques, and how these influences continue to shape modern English vocabulary today. Many everyday English words like street, port and camp trace their origins back to Latin. The Romanization of Britain was a transformative period that reshaped the island's language forever. Before the Romans arrived, prehistoric Britain was home to nomadic hunter-gatherers who gradually settled into farming communities. By 4000 BC, hilltop enclosures and henge monuments dotted the landscape. Around 700 BC, the Celts spread across Britain, establishing tribes, building settlements and communicating through Brythonic languages that would later interact with Latin and Germanic elements. Druidic figures served as religious and cultural guides, ensuring Celtic traditions remained vibrant. Their influence shaped the social fabric of early Britain for centuries. In 55 BC, Julius Caesar first set sail for Britain, launching brief exploratory campaigns. These expeditions introduced the idea of Roman power to the British Isles. Caesar returned in 54 BC with a larger force, engaging in skirmishes with local tribes. Though no permanent occupation followed, the groundwork for future Roman interest was laid. Nearly a century later, in AD 43, Emperor Claudius authorized a full-scale invasion. Under Aulus Plautius, Roman legions crossed the Channel and rapidly secured the southeast coast. The Romans built an extensive road network to connect military outposts and administrative centres, enabling rapid troop movement and efficient governance across their new territory. Londinium, modern-day London, was founded during this period and quickly grew into a thriving commercial and administrative hub at the heart of Roman Britain. Roman rule introduced profound changes. Public buildings, baths and forums reflected Roman architectural styles, while new taxation and administrative systems reshaped daily life. In AD 122, Emperor Hadrian ordered the construction of a monumental wall stretching across northern England, marking the frontier of Roman Britain. By AD 410, as the Western Roman Empire declined, the legions withdrew from Britain. The island was left with a rich legacy of infrastructure and cultural practices. In the power vacuum that followed, Germanic tribes, the Angles, Saxons and Jutes, began settling in the former Roman territories, reshaping Britain's cultural and linguistic landscape. Roman city names still echo today. Places ending in Chester, like Manchester and Winchester, derive from the Latin word castra, meaning camp, a lasting imprint of Roman presence. Now, let us explore how Latin influenced the English language through two key mechanisms: loanwords, which are terms adopted directly, and calques, which are word-for-word translations. Loanwords are terms borrowed with minimal adaptation. Familiar examples include wine, from Latin vinum, street from strata, cheese from caseus, and mile from milia passuum. Calques, or loan translations, occur when a phrase is translated literally. For instance, the English word gospel derives from a calque of the Latin evangelium, meaning good news. Latin influence on Old English came in three waves. First, continental contact. Early Germanic tribes encountered Romans on the European continent, borrowing words like wine, camp, and copper. Second, Celtic transmission. After the Roman withdrawal, Celtic communities passed on Latin terms like port from portus and chiasta from castra into early English. Third, Christianity. The Christianization of Britain introduced extensive religious vocabulary. Bishop from episcopus, priest from presbyter, altar from altare, and school from scholar. During the Middle English period, from 1150 to 1500, the Norman conquest established Latin as the language of administration, scholarship, and religion. Legal terms such as justice, judge, jury, and advocate entered English. Medical vocabulary expanded with words like medicine, remedy, infection, and prescription. Theological and scholarly terms also flooded in: scripture, prophet, miracle, monastery, author, library, and lecture. Latin was reshaping the very fabric of English vocabulary. The modern English period, beginning around 1500, coincided with the Renaissance, a time of cultural revolution, the printing press, and expanding popular education. Latin and Greek served as the principal languages of academic and scientific discourse across Europe, providing a universal framework for scholars, scientists, and diplomats. The revival of classical scholarship brought an influx of Latin terms into English: encyclopedia, formula, climax, appendix, and axis, words once considered strange, but now essential. Some critics called these elaborate borrowings inkhorn terms, viewing them as unnecessarily pretentious. Yet supporters like John Dryden championed linguistic enrichment through borrowing. Today, Latin continues to shape English across specialized fields. Medical terms like diagnosis, virus, and vaccine. Legal phrases like habeas corpus and pro bono remain indispensable. Language is the roadmap of a culture. English today is a tapestry woven through centuries of interaction and adaptation, and the Latin thread runs deep through every layer. Technology draws from Latin roots too: digital, media, virtual, and network. Everyday words like agenda, video, and audio remind us of Latin's enduring presence in modern life. So when we trace English back through Roman roads, medieval monasteries, Renaissance classrooms, and modern laboratories, one thing becomes clear: Latin never really left. It adapted, it travelled, it changed clothes. From wine and street to justice and diagnosis, from gospel to digital, Latin has acted as a linguistic backbone, supporting English as it expanded into law, science, religion, and everyday life. What once sounded foreign is now familiar. What was once borrowed is now essential. Language, after all, is not a closed system. It's a living record of contact, conflict, curiosity, and creativity. English is not pure, and it never was, and that is precisely its strength. The Latin thread still runs through English today, quietly connecting past and present. And once you learn to notice it, you'll never hear the language in quite the same way again.